Total War Atilla, the game that brings some of the most legendary mods to the Total War genre. A game that captures the true despair of the fall of the Roman Empire, and a game that has been touted to be made for next generation PCs. And today we're gonna go ahead and put that to the test. So yeah, if you guys don't know, when Total War Atilla came out, and I think everyone's probably seen the memes about it, the game runs like crap. If you don't know, when Total War Atilla first came out, the game ran like absolute rubbish and still does for most people to this day. It is renowned as one of the worst performing Total War, and that is even with Empire Total War, which I know was an absolute travesty when it first came out. I think performance on that game is a little bit better now. But yeah, Total War Atilla was basically touted as being a game for future hardware and future PC. So I've recently built myself an absolute monster PC. We've got a 4090 in there, we've got a i9 1300K, DDR5 RAM. This thing is an absolute monster. For reference, I get roughly around about, when I benchmark over on Warhammer 3, which is of course the latest Total War game, roughly around about 200 FPS. So I thought it would be fun to basically let's just dive back into Total War Atilla, the game that Creative Assembly was made for future PC setup, and put it to the test. So I think first things first, let's go ahead and run a benchmark. Let's see what the game has to offer. Let's see if if my PC can handle this better or worse than the latest Total War Warhammer 3 game. Okay, so starting off not great. We're struggling to break 100 FPS. I will of course preface this video as well, you know, I totally understand that a lot of the older games won't be taking advantage of a lot more of the modern hardware, but again, they did say this was made for future hardware, so I'm not sure how much leeway I want to give it right there. Yeah, so far we're sticking below 100 FPS, which isn't great, honestly. I think on Warhammer 3 I was absolutely nailing it above 200 at this point in the video. Let's see what happens when units start to clash as well. And I think one of the biggest things for FPS as well, that's it for the benchmark. Wow, okay, yeah, so averaging around about 86, so we lost roughly 120 frames from Warhammer 3 to Total War Atilla. Okay, so now we've done the benchmark and I was severely disappointed with that. Now let's just test out a normal battle, see how much FPS we get in an actual battle. This one roughly has around about 6,000 soldiers, so this is pretty small for the most part. But of course, it will be a really good benchmark for when we up the numbers. I basically want to see if I can get up to 20, 30,000 soldiers and if they run smoothly. Because that has been a big staple of the channel in the past, playing these huge Attila battles. And, you know, for the most part, they weren't the great when it came to performance. So it'd be interesting to see if, you know, it actually does change and we can play larger battles in Attila, or if, you know, it was all a lie and this game wasn't actually made for future hardware. I will also as well turn on top right hand corner an FPS counter so you guys can see how it does perform. But yeah, let's just basically just charge in the entire army. So right now we're getting around about 84 when we're all the way up here, and actually getting an improvement to FPS. Okay, it's dwindling. Yeah, just sick. Wow, that's so bad. 60 as we dive in. But yeah, let's just select everybody. We'll group them up into a locked formation, and we'll just charge them forward, and let's see how the FPS handles when we actually get some soldiers diving into combat. Do keep in mind as well that we are only having about 3,000 soldiers, and we're struggling to hit 60. Yeah, it looks like actually, wow, we even dropped below 40. It's not looking good. Honestly, 3,000 soldiers, a bit of a disappointment. I was expecting more. I was really expecting more. Okay, so 6,000 soldiers, I would say on average get roughly around about 40 FPS. Now let's double it and pass it on to the next person. Okay, so here we go, 12,000 soldiers, close to 13,000, and before the units do clash, and when we're all the way zoomed up here, actually is not bad. We're sticking around about 100, which was kind of in line with the benchmark. When we zoom in and get a nice little glimpse, we do drop down quite quickly, down below 50, which is a bit of a shame, but it doesn't seem like there's a massive like drag in performance when it comes to just having more soldiers. Like, we've doubled the amount of soldiers. You'd kind of be expecting a bit more of a performance here, but it seems like the game is just completely I guess, happy with what this is, and it doesn't seem like it gets affected too much by the other soldiers and the extra entities. Something I am a little bit interested in is just like how the AI performance does hamper it as well. You know, with more units, the AI has to do more calculations, so it will be interesting to see when we actually get a little bit closer if it does tank, because, you know, the AI has a bunch more soldiers to mess around with. All right, can we also take a moment as well to actually realize that the AI is corner camping me? They are literally going to the corner of the map. Oh my lord, the Spartans would be proud. Okay, so the units are about to clash. The projectiles are being thrown out now. All the little darts are hitting into the Saxon forces. So far, though, again, I'm not really noticing much difference. Considering we've doubled the amount of entities in the game, I'm surprised we're not seeing more of a performance. If the game seemingly is running pretty decently, then the AI behavior doesn't seem like it really adds up much. Let's just select everybody now and just get them stuck in. So they're just going to charge forward now. Again, I think we saw lows of roughly around about 35 when we were in the previous battle with half the amount of soldiers. And it's, for the most part, is seemingly, if we go all the way down as well, seemingly hitting about that as well. 33 right now, 32. You know, it's nothing that considerable considering we have doubled the amount of soldiers. Okay, cool. So, yeah, I mean, it seems like it's running fine. Nothing too crazy. 27 is pretty bad. I would say for the most part that was, you know, pretty decent performance considering we had 12,000 soldiers on the battlefield. Let's do our final test, the test that will really determine if this game is made for future hardware. And we have basically the most amount of soldiers we could get ideally inside of the base game Attilla. This is including stuff like Rise of Mordor or Dawnless Days even, where you can get up to 240 in the larger scale units. This is just base game. Let's see how it performs. Okay, here we are in the start deployment zone. We have just over 24,000 soldiers, so that is pretty insane considering most Warhammer battles nowadays get to about 6,000, and that's pretty insane and crazy. 24,000 soldiers. This is what I would say is back in the day when the ultra large battles were there, were like the pinnacle. That was like, oh yeah, this is a massive battle, yeah, it was like, you know, 10 FPS on my old consoles and stuff. So I want to make sure that we are stacked up with the AI in this, but so far I would say so good. The FPS is sticking pretty decent, and I'm not really noticing like a big diversion considering, again, we've doubled it and passed it on to the next person. The FPS seems pretty fine. And I think as well, one of the biggest things when it comes to Attila, there's a certain breaking point when you go below 20 FPS where the game starts to stutter. And that was always the most frustrating thing when it came to watching replays and creating content on the game. So if this can play a 24,000 man battle without any stuttering, that's, yeah, that's pretty impressive. And hey, maybe Total War Atilla was made for future hardware. Okay, here we go. The lines are about to clash. I am expecting it to really struggle here when the lines fully clash. All the particle effects and everything else is flying in to combat. Yeah, I'm expecting the stuttering. You can already start to see we are down to 26 FPS, but that is still playable. You know, as long as it doesn't kind of jolt and stutter, I will be happy with this, and pretty impressed, honestly. So there we have it, a pretty large-scale battle. I will also note as well, my 4090 is not struggling temperature-wise whatsoever. The fans aren't even on. It's currently sticking at around about 40 degrees. And graphically, we do also have the unlimited video memory as well, so it should be able to use all the amount of video allocation it needs. And yeah, so let's just go down the battle line. I think, as I said, the lowest we saw in the previous battle, all the lighting tearing going on there. Oh yeah, and look at that, it is struggling. I mean, ignore the lighting tearing, but just in general, yeah, 16 FPS, 10 FPS. Yeah, it's not looking good. It's really starting to crumble now. I mean, when we zoom out, it's okay. Oh man, I had so many high hopes of this. I had so many high hopes that this would be able to absolutely smash it. I mean, again, I feel like it's not fully utilizing the technology that's in the PC. And I guess there we have it. You know, Total War Atilla was not made for future hardware. I mean, I say that. It is doing a pretty good job for the most part. But yeah, I mean, the fact that we're dropping below 18 FPS, it's a bit of a shame. Quite upsetting. So yeah, it seems like we were lied to. God damn. Total War Atilla, a game that keeps on disappointing. But hey, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I think it's always interesting to see, you know, kind of how these older games can handle newer hardware. And it was just always a meme, you know, that Total War Atilla was made for future PCs, so I thought I'd put that to the test. If you want to see me take out my new PC for a spin in the laboratory mode on Warhammer 3, let me know. I think it would be really funny to go in and basically just see if we could break my last record, which was around about 200,000 soldiers. And honestly, I think it'd be pretty interesting to actually just see, you know, how the game handles them larger battles. But if you enjoyed, be sure to drop a like and a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.